Hey, Justin Abel here with STL Tones. On this month's episode of the Mix Creative series, we're going to be talking all things vocals. So from starting, tracking, 0% completed, to a finished mix. So let's get into it. So in this video, I want to show you my thought process, but also my technical process of how I like to do vocals on songs. So I'll take you through how I like to set up my tracking session to make sure things are quick, how I like to edit, how I like to mix prep and get things ready for a mix, and then all the way through how I like to process things in mixes. So without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into it. We're using a song called Fingers Crossed by a band Sleep Braids. I produced and mixed the song. Freaking love it. I think it's going to be just a really good example of what I like to do. So let's get into it. All right, so here's the mix session. This is set up just like all my other videos. This is how I always set up my sessions. I'm just gonna I'll play from pre-chorus 1 into the or through the first chorus, just so you kind of get a vibe for the song. So yeah, just super cool pop punk song. Great singers. They're just, this is one of those songs that it's like full send the whole time, which is something I love to work on. Yeah, let's go ahead and start with my process of tracking. So I'll pull up these. So these are actually the tracks that I used during the production of the song. So how I always set things up is I have a track that I record to. So the mic is going into the input of this, and vocals will be recorded here. And then I have all of these tracks set up like this already before we even start recording vocals. So I have the tracks that I want for all of the choruses and verses. And sometimes in the middle of sessions, you have to add tracks or, rename stuff or whatever. Not a big deal. But I like it to be like, we track on this one and instantly we can pull it down, have auto tune on, have a whole mix chain on, and it's going through basically my entire summing section while we're actually tracking, so that we really are operating in an informed way. So yeah, nowadays, physically, I like to have the vocalist right next to me. You can see the mic right here. I think that it is the most low pressure way of recording a vocalist. I have a tracking room. You can see that light that's my tracking room. I used to have vocalists stand basically right next to that lamp, and it gives the studio experience, which some people that matters a lot to, or, some people like the separation so that they feel like they're in their own world and they're not screaming right in my ear or, whatever. That's totally fine. I'm flexible in that way that I can, we can throw the mic out there. It's not a problem at all. But I do think that I've gotten some of the best vocals I've ever done with the artist standing right here or even sitting right here, because it just feels like you're over at your friend's house. It's just like a little bit of the psychology behind tracking vocals. It's really all about making your environment as comfortable and low pressure as possible. The second that people start feeling like they're on a stage and have to perform and they get that red light fever, I think instantly starts, you start getting worse takes. So that's just my 2 cents. So my signal chain is that mic, or whatever vocal mic I'm using, into a preamp, and I'm always hitting a distressor on the way in. Do you have to have a hardware distressor? No, absolutely not. You really don't. I happen to have one. I bought it years ago, and I feel lucky to have it. I always use the same settings on it for vocals. I'll pull up this plugin. You can see JWA always. That's my initials always. And it's basically the distressor setting I use for everything, drums or vocals. So it's absolute slowest attack, absolute fastest release. And I use different ratios. For vocals, I like 4:1. Yeah, so you can see in these audio files that that the vocals are definitely compressed on the way in. They're pretty even. Obviously, there's still some dynamic to them, but especially on this second singer, yeah, I was going pretty ham on the compression, but I thought that it just sounds good. A big deal to me is, just kind of committing to things on the way in. And if it sounds good, it is good. Don't think too much about it. And yeah, compression is one of those things. Obviously, you can't undo it, but I believe heavily that vocals in modern music need to be compressed heavily in order to, one, compete with a wall of sound like this song is, but two, just have the character of modern music. I think a lot of people get caught up in the forums or, caught up in YouTube videos that say, I don't compress my vocal over 5 dB of gain reduction or something like that. For me, I will bury the needle if it sounds good. I don't care. I really don't even look at gain reduction. I'm just listening for, for the aggression or the emotion or, whatever the genre is. Requires a little bit of a different compression setting, but yeah, if you take one thing away from this video and you're just starting out, I just say, don't look at the meter, just turn it until it sounds like what you want to hear. And, the more you do it, the more you'll dial in what that actually means for you. So getting into it, I generally, for stacking wise, we'll talk about stacking, and doubling vocals. And so, in this song, you can see that I have a lead vocal happening, and then I have a stereo double happen. So these are 3 individual takes happening for every single line. I really like that. I think it gives this like wide, impressive sounding vocal. A lot of times in choruses, I'll actually do 4 vocals. So I'll have the lead vocal, and then I'll have a double in the center, and then I'll have 2 wide doubles as well. That's what I'm doing more recently. This song I did a little bit ago. So this was back when I was still doing 3 vocals, but it sounds almost the same. Okay, so let's get into it. So as you can see on all of these vocals, I have auto-tune. It's going through my mix template as I was talking about, and the actual vocal tracking track that I have, I don't have auto-tune on. That's for latency, but also I just think that most of the time artists aren't used to singing with auto-tune on. So when we like the takes, I will pull them down, as I said, and we'll listen through. I've been sleepless all night. And it sounds pretty much perfectly tuned. If there were one of the vocals, if the auto-tune's doing a weird thing and jumping to a wrong note, I will, scrap that take, do another take, say, hey, focus on this note, and just make sure that all of the vocals sound as unified as possible. In my experience, if auto-tune auto mode is tuning the vocal to sound perfect, then any graphic move or, graph mode move that you do is going to sound super natural and, it's not just going to sound like the vocal is overly tuned. Okay, so let's just say that we have tuned this vocal and it is ready to just commit down that processing. So I'm going to do this, and I'm just rendering auto-tune on the track. And then I will duplicate the playlist and make a playlist called C Tuned, which you can see that I've already done. So I'm just going to delete this one because this is the actual real tuned vocal. I've been sleepless all... And then we can turn auto-tune off. I've been sleepless all night. And yeah, you have a finished vocal sound for the lead vocal. Then I'll go up to Audio Suite, and I'll grab Vocal Line Ultra. I use this to tune and time doubles almost exclusively. Sometimes it doesn't work if the vocal is too raspy, but usually this works hilariously well. So we'll do this. Just processed both of them. We can turn auto-tune off now on those. Let's listen. I've been sleepless all night. And then let's just undo that vocal line move so you can hear it'll be tuned lead vocal and unvocalined and untuned backgrounds. I've been sleepless all night. Let's redo it. I've been sleepless all night. So that's my basic tracking and production process and thought process that I like to go through for tracking, especially in this genre. So let's hop into ControlHub and we'll talk about mixing vocals. So first thing I do when I am about to start mixing vocals is you just listen to them dry. No plugins, no nothing.
I've been sleepless all night. I've been sleepless all night.
So first thing I notice, it is sibilant. I want to control this mid-range, but I really like the fullness that it has. So really I'm wanting to compress and de-ess and see where that gets us. So let's go ahead and go into, we'll go into this brand new pack. Let's just go through some of these.
I've been sleepless all night. 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 I've been sleepless all night.
So I really like what that's doing. It's really pinning the vocal in place. I noticed that it needs a roll off on the bottom for sure.
I've been sleepless all night. I've been sleepless all night. I've been sleepless all night.
Now let's experiment a little bit with driving this color section a little bit. With songs like this, I really like, some actual, harmonic character, sometimes just distortion on a vocal.
I've been sleepless all night. 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 I've been sleepless all night.
So that's sounding really good. And then this kind of brings us to a good segue to talk about the new dynamic section in ControlHub. So not only do you have compression now, you have a transient designer that is freaking cool. We'll talk about that more in another video. And the De-Esser. So let's go ahead and see if we can dial in this De-Esser to tackle some of these S's. So we can hit this headphones button to audition what the De-Esser is listening to.
I've been sleepless all night. I've been sleepless all night.
So when I'm doing this listen to function, really what I'm listening for is not to hear too much of the actual throat or note of the vocal. I'm really looking for where the S pokes out a lot, and that's what I'm gonna want to turn down.
I've been sleepless all night. I've been sleepless all night.
Let's hear it without.
I've been sleepless all. I've been sleepless all
Yeah, I mean, it's
night.
doing a really good job of pinning that into place.
I've been sleepless all night. I've been sleepless all night. I've been sleepless all night.
Okay, and then let's go ahead. We're gonna do a second instance of ControlHub. It will be a clean instance. So one trick that you can do with a De-Esser that is not actually using it as a De-Esser, really all a De-Esser is a frequency-dependent compressor. So there's a range in this singer's voice
I've been sleepless.
that I hear a whistle. It's like, doo, it's that note.
I've been sleepless.
So you could use a De-Esser to target that frequency and just duck that down a little bit every time that gets above the threshold. So let's find that first.
I've been sleepless all night. I've been sleepless all night.
Yeah, I mean, it's right there, around 700.
I've been sleepless all night.
We can just pull down the threshold a little bit.
I've been sleepless all night. 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 I've been sleepless all night.
That's starting to sound good. I went in and went ahead and ducked out that little whistly frequency too a little bit, just to tuck it in a little bit. So usually what I do, I'll bypass all of the processing for the doubles, and I'll take the main couple of plugins that I'm using for the lead vocal. So, you know, in this case, you can see I did De-Esser and EQ, and the main compressor is what I was using. And so I'll just copy over this first instance of ControlHub.
I've been sleepless all night.
Before.
I've been sleepless all night. I've been sleepless all night. I've been sleepless all night.
So that's sounding good. The thing that I'm looking for in doubles is usually thickening and modernizing. And so in this case, I don't want the doubles to be as bright as the lead vocal. And so I'm gonna just go in and kind of tailor the high end while listening to the lead vocal with the doubles.
I've been sleepless all night. 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 I've been sleepless all night.
Another thing I'll do is I'll use the De-Esser to go a lot harder on the doubles so that you're really only hearing the S from the lead vocal. The doubles are more or less, you know, they kind of have a lisp. I take most of the S's out. So let's go ahead and try that.
I've been sleepless all night. I've been sleepless all night. I've been sleepless all night.
Yeah, that's more of what I'm talking about.
I've been sleepless all night. 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 Can you tell me what it feels like? I've been sleepless all night. Can you tell me what it feels like? I've been sleepless all night. I've been sleepless all night. I've been sleepless. I've been sleepless all night. I've been sleepless all night. Can you tell me what it feels like?
So yeah, combining this De-Esser, and then I turned on a little bit of this guy too, that is just really pummeling the S's on those doubles.
I've been sleepless all night.
And then if you listen to it with the lead vocal,
I've been sleepless all night.
you hear that the center lead vocal S is the one that is ruling the S's. You don't have this really wide S. I don't generally like the sound of that.
I've been sleepless all night. Can you tell me what it feels like? Can't say so.
That sounds great. They sound just as even as I want them to be. Like I said, I'm not really concerned about gain reduction. I'm sure that we're getting a lot. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, we're hitting 20. But it's like, who cares? It sounds good. The vocal sounds really even. They sound up front and they're competing with the band. And yeah, I think it sounds really great. ControlHub is just absolutely nailing it. And I'm really liking this new pack from Lance Prince. So yeah, that's pretty much my thought process and actual technical process on how I like to approach vocals. I think that ControlHub is such a great and quick tool that you can get vocals sounding really good really fast. And again, the whole point of what we do as producers is make an emotional end product. And I am all about finding new ways to get to that place as fast as possible. So really freaking love it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions that have stemmed from anything that we talked about today, feel free to leave them in a comment below and I'd be happy to get back to you. Also, make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe to the STL Tones YouTube channel. There is so much good stuff coming that I can't talk about yet, but it is so, you are excited about it. You just don't know you are yet. I'll see you next month for the next episode of the Mixed Creative series. Yeah, once again, appreciate your time. Happy creating. I'll see you then.